Training stories, of course, with myself, Umjaka. Join Betway, use our codes, SoccerBeat, sign up, make sure you use the correct code, hit the link in the bio to get to that. And then it'll give you an option, sign up, you put your details, there's a place, SoccerBeat is the code, you get 25 Rand extra to bet. Make sure you do the right thing, man. Back up your opinion. If you have a lot to say, it's your time to back up your opinion. Subscribe. We need you to subscribe, continue to grow our community. We're reaching higher heights. We even have agents, the guys in the middle of big deals here to come and give us the intricacies, the details about what goes on, how they make things happen. And Tsepo Masilela, of course, Kaizer Chiefs legend, who's a big fan of Cele and how Cele has come in and just made Chiefs a force to be reckoned with. It was almost plug and play. Tsepo, you were smiling when that deal was announced.
No, definitely, Caesar. I'm a big fan, man. As you know, I had a chat with Gary off air. Like, I like the aura. I think he's got the personality. He's brave. At big teams, you want brave players that are not scared to get on the ball. You make a mistake now, you get up. Ask for the ball again and make things happen. And he's that type of a player. The personality and the character stands out for me.
Hey, Gary, Tsepo couldn't believe it. We had to check different sources to make sure it was true. To make sure it was true. How did you pull that off, Gary? I mean, sheesh. And to land at Chiefs on top of that. It's not a bad club to land at from Europe.
No, definitely. Look, I mean, we've been working on the Chiefs deal for about 3 seasons now. It's what's the word? It's no news that they wanted him 3 seasons ago. And we have been in talks and communicating with Chiefs and, throughout the whole process. But, at the end of the day, Tabo obviously wanted to see how far he could still take his career in Europe. And he wanted to play in Europe a bit longer. But, if you look at the national team selection, a lot of the players that Hugo Bruce is selecting are South African-based players. And I think it just came to a decision where I'd said to Tabo, look, if we're really going to give the national team a good go and be serious about it, you need to come and play in South Africa. And let's see if that's going to, change mindsets and give him that better opportunity to secure his spot in national team. Kaizer Chiefs was his childhood club that he supported as a kid. And he always wanted to play for Chiefs. And so I think that was always going to be first priority for him. And as I said to you, we've been having discussions with Chiefs for the last 3 seasons, and now it was just time to make it happen. And we did. The opportunity was there, the time was right, and so it just sort of all just fell into place, really.
You look like you got something to ask there for you. You like that? Like I'm holding you back.
No, man. From my side, I just want to ask, what does Tabo think of Coach Nabi? Because I've heard the coach, he speaks highly of Tabo. So I just want to know, from Tabo's point, what does he think of Coach Nabi?
I can't speak for Tabo, but from our discussions, I mean, look, he's really enjoying working with Nabi. I mean, Nabi's a tactician. He runs a very structured game plan. There's a lot of work that goes into his preparations. But at the end of the day, and I was actually funny that you mentioned that. I was actually chatting to Tabo about it last night, and we talk about controlling the controllables. He just needs to work within his position, focus on his job at hand, and again, Nabi is obviously giving him certain roles and a certain job to do within his parameters of his position. And that's where his focus is now. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it is about the best for the team. He wants the team to win and do well, and he wants to support as much as possible. And he wants to bring a lot of his European experience into the team to assist the team. But no, look, to answer the question again, he really enjoys working with Nabi.
I'm not Gary. I'm like, what if Chiefs were not available? What if Chiefs were not available? The situation that happened, had to leave Russia in the way that it did. How did you hold your nerve in this whole process and manage to land at Chiefs?
Look, I mean, he still had another 6 months left on his contract. So I don't think we were going to be completely stressed and going to panic stations. But as I said to you, we've been talking to Chiefs for the last 3 seasons, and if he was going to come back to South Africa, it was always going to be the go-to. So we were having discussions, prior to the January window, to see what Chiefs' plans were, what Nabi's plans were, and at the end of the day, it wasn't about just taking him out of Russia and running off to Kaizer Chiefs, because did they need a player in his position? Firstly, we had to assess that, would it be the right move? I mean, I think the worst thing for Tabo, would be going to a club where he's not going to get game time. And I mean, I think you saw in Russia, he started, when the new coach came in, he started starting all the games, and he, was working really hard to make sure he could secure the starting position, and he was really performing. So, we had to capitalize and find the opportunity where we could build on that. And again, the reason why we would build on that is to make sure that we could secure, national team call-up. And, that's where Tabo's focus is at the moment, to be honest with you. And, when we were discussing off air now, he's really working hard. He's really focused. He wants to be in the national team for AFCON. He wants to be in the national team for World Cup. And as I said, if you think you've seen the best of Thabo Cele, watch these next couple of games for Chiefs, because he's really, really going to push now for those man-of-the-match performances. He knows that it's going to be tough. And like I said, one thing we mentioned last night, we were talking about the success of Bafana at the moment. And then I know Michael Morton's been talking about it quite a lot. But for any player now wanting to get into that successful national team is going to be very, very tough. Hugo Bruce has got a good structure there. He's got his players. But that doesn't mean that team is set in stone. I think if any player is performing now in this league and puts his hand up, I think they're definitely going to consider that player. And that's the advice that I've given Tabo. I've said to him, just go there, push for the man-of-the-match performances. You've set the bar now already coming back. And, I said to him, it's been quite tough too. I mean, imagine you're a player coming out of Europe. You've never played in the PSL. You're coming halfway through the season. And, now you've got to put up your hand to try and get into the national team. So it was going to be when I say a little bit of a bumpy road, it's he's always lived his professional career outside of South Africa. Now he's got to come here, get settled, and plus, jump into the thick of it and perform for a big club like Kaizer Chiefs. Exactly. And he's been able to get over those hurdles and obstacles, whether it's pressure, whether it's emotional, whatever it may be. And I think his professionalism as an experienced European athlete has shown. And like I said, the goal for him now is to raise the bar every single game. And I said to him, don't put yourself under too much pressure. Stay focused, control what you can control, but try and raise the bar 10, 20% if you can every game. He'll actually verify it. I said to him, make a list of your goals now and targets. World Cup, AFCON, national team call-up, man-of-the-match performances, goals, assists. Focus on your stats within your position, and every game tick those boxes off that list that you made. Put that list on your fridge. Make sure it's the last thing you see before you go to sleep, and it's the first thing you see when you wake up. Because what he'll do is if he ticks off those targets, and let's say he doesn't score the goal or he doesn't reach the amount of assists, he's definitely going to make sure he does it the next game, because he hasn't reached that target in the previous game. So that's how I've basically advised him to say, push for those targets, set yourself those goals, and hopefully organically he will put his hand up for a selection for national team.
Hey, and you went via those ways as well, Tsepo, to a lesser known European league, Israel. Like Tabo as well went via, smaller divisions. And he's made the decision to come back, but when you at least got that springboard to La Liga, and also it tested La Liga.
Yeah, it's different paths, obviously, but it's also it's a pity because you don't get to watch these leagues, in South Africa, and sometimes people will question the standard of the league that they don't even know or follow, but you can tell from how he plays that he's been playing in very competitive top leagues, so that's what I can say. You can only judge by what you see on the field, and so far what you've seen on the field, it's quite impressive, and I like that he's slowly taking the role of a leader. You can see when they play, he tries and pass instructions or try get the guys in proper positions. You can see that he's also a leader, and he's slowly getting to that role, or he's getting comfortable to a point where he can lead the guys around him. You don't have to wear the arm belt, Caesar, to be a leader in football.
Co-signed by the legend himself, Tsepo Masilela, Gary. I'm sure those are nice words to hear, and I want to hear your response. Check this out.
Look, I mean,
How would you like to win a little something extra just for joining the best in the game? For a limited time, we are teaming up with Betway and giving all of you access to a SoccerBeat exclusive. If you join Betway using the sign-up code SoccerBeat, now in March, you'll get 25 Rand Extra Bet. That's right. It's time to get way more out of every bet. Standard T's and C's apply.
Tabo, again, after our discussion last night, one thing that he did mention is that he's trying to connect the guys on the field. He's trying to get them playing for each other. He's trying to get that brotherhood going, which I think, was the Chiefs of the old. I think, Tsepo, when you played, I think it was, you guys were very close as a unit. And that's why you had a lot of successes, back in the days when Stuart Baxter was there, when Mushin was there. I think that's what he's just trying to do on the field. It's not about wearing the captain's armband, as you mentioned. I think everything he's trying to do is for the players, for the team, and for the results. And if he can bring the team together and they play for each other, they've got a good side. They can beat anyone on the park.
Hey, and I'm sure for you, you're always sitting there, Gary. You're like, yeah, keep performing, keep performing. I like those stats, Tabo. The phone is starting to ring.
No, listen, I'm his biggest critic, let me tell you. But I like to focus on positives. I never like to criticize on the negatives. And again, part of our discussion last night, we talk about the Richards Bay game. I mean, sure, it wasn't a great result for Chiefs, but I said to him, you know what, you've got to take the games like that. I mean, you've seen some of the games that Richards Bay played, even though they haven't had the string of results. There's times where they can just click and they can beat anyone. But I said to him, go into those games, analyze your game, and he does. He actually watches his games over and over and over to analyze, his mistakes or where can he improve. And that's what footballers should do. Don't get down, don't get negative. Go back and do your homework, do your research. You've played that game, the team hasn't performed, you haven't performed as an individual. Go and take the positives out of that. And where you've made the mistakes, that just means you go back to the drawing board, you go back to training, you work that much harder so that you don't make those mistakes again. And that's pretty much where his focus is right now.
Man, that's right. I love what you said there, Gary. Check out Betway. Check out Betway. Here's our link in the bio and description, guys. Get 25 Rand extra if you use the code SoccerBeat when you sign up, but you must follow the link in the bio and description. Tsepo, it must be joy to you as a Chiefs legend to know the midfield is in a good place now with Tabo. What else do you think will be needed from Tabo now for that extra bit that he needs to do to get into that national team? Because that midfield looks tough, that's it.
Yeah, it's stacked up, and the other challenge is that the national team coach, he's worked with most of those guys for years now since he got here. But listen, man, things happen in football, and if you always perform, Caesar, if you always sometimes you force your way into the national team, even though it's tough, but your performance will speak for itself. And for Tibos, you should just keep on performing, and obviously, firstly, you have to do well for your team. So yeah, when he's doing well for Kaizer Chiefs, and the call-up will be there, you'll get the call-up. He just has to focus on his team and control what he can control, Baba. You can't control everything as a footballer. You can just control what you can control, what's in your hands, and the rest will take care of itself.
I always tell him
else is
control the
cooking
controllable.
Exactly, Gary.
What else is cooking? What else is cooking in your camp, Gary? What else is cooking? What else can we expect from your camp? Any other players we should expect to be in the talking in the news?
Sure. At the moment, just put me on the spot there. Let me have a think. In terms of performance, or in terms of the next transfer window?
It's almost like an elevator pitch here, Gary. This is an elevator pitch. Go.
Sure. Well, look, another player to watch out for is Nkosi Radebe, the winger from TS Galaxy that I moved to Amazulu. He's had a few starts there. I think he had 3 games in 2 goals in 3 games, 3 starts. Exciting young player. I definitely think he's got the ability to become a national team player. He just has to put his head down, work hard. It was a bit of a tough season last season at TS Galaxy, but you know how it goes. When one door closes, another one opens. And it's just about how he puts his head down now, and he's been doing the hard work. Oh, Wade K.
Yeah.
Sure, Wade.
Yeah.
So Wade's in India.
And City are looking for a striker. What bad timing, eh? Yo.
They should have never let him go. I'll tell you, if they kept Wade Lekay playing under Mushin, I'll tell you that boy would have been bagging goals for fun in that team, for fun. Already now, when I took him from Sweden to India, going halfway through the season, the only opportunity we had was to get into a second division club for him to go and expose himself. And I think he's sitting on 12, 13 goals already. And I've already got 3 Super League clubs that are lined up to sign him in India. And they throw massive money there, especially as strikers, goal scoring strikers. So I don't see Wade coming back to South Africa unless there's a PSL club that's going to offer him a decent contract, because there in India, clubs are talking anything between 5 and 8 bar a season. And, they play for about 10 months there. You can come back for 2 months, ride his jet skis in Cabs Bay, and then go back again. Yeah. So, and he's living in Goa at the moment, playing in Goa, living the life on the beach, riding scooters, drinking margaritas, playing football. Geez, what a pleasure. And packing in goals. Yeah. So yeah, for Wade Lekay, I don't think it's going to be an easy decision for him to make a move back to South Africa. He's enjoying it in that Indian league. He wants to give it a good go in the Super League. As I said, there's definitely a financial side to it. They pay really, really well. And yeah, we'll see how it goes there. But if a PSL team does come knocking and they want Wade, I'm not saying he won't make himself available, but it is going to come down to the Benjamins, unfortunately.
All right, but Gary, once again, man, can't wait to have you again as a guest here on SoccerBeat. Appreciate your time all the time.
Are we done already?
Okay. Yeah. An honor. Gary, we have to save some good ones for next time. Let's go out, let them through on this one, but we'll catch up very soon.
We've only spoken about all these top high-level players. We must talk about the young guns too. There's a nice young gun you guys must watch. Clyde Comby, who came through Ajax Cape Town, that went to Baroka. It's his first season in the NFD. He's played, how many games have they played? Is it 18 or 20 games now?
Sure. 17, yeah.
I think he's had 18 or 20 games in the NFD already, and he's already got I think 4 goals or 5 goals and 2 or 3 assists in his first season at NFD. And definitely the PSL clubs, if you haven't got him on your radar, go have a look at him. Started as an 8 at Ajax, went into a 10 for the first time ever in NFD, and he's doing really, really well. I'll be very surprised if a PSL club doesn't pick him up now in this transfer window.
Hey, and Ikamva has cooked them, Tsepo, over the years. Ikamva knows how to cook those central midfielders.
Yeah, no, definitely. In Canva, it's where they get cooked. And again, if you have references, and you look back and you say, okay, the talent that it has came out from Canva, so we don't have any questions or doubt about the player that Gary is mentioning, and we'll definitely watch the space. Watch the space.
Watch the space. Watch the transfer window.
Next transfer window. Don't forget, guys, while you're at it, 25 Rand extra if you use our code SoccerBeat. Use the link in the bio and description to sign up, and use the code SoccerBeat. You get 25 Rand extra bet. Let's go.
SoccerBeat, what?